every now and then the timing just seems to be right. And for today's review, the timing couldn't be any more perfect, and I'm excited to get this thing tested out. Hey everybody, it's Chris from Family Geekery, and today we're going to be taking a look at this Lemorele 12-in-2 MacBook docking station. So if you've been watching the channel lately, you know I just recently stumbled upon a 2017 15-inch MacBook Pro, and I swear, just like the next day, I get contacted by this company, and they ask if I'd like to review their product. So as I've told you all before, I don't review just any product that they send, that people want to send me, but in some cases, if it's something that seems like it would be a good fit for my audience, then I go ahead and I do so. And I always give the stipulations to the company, hey, I'm going to do an honest review, I'm going to test it out to my standards, and I'm going to release the video before you even get to see it. And this particular company was okay with that, so they sent me this 12-in-2 MacBook docking station. I'm guessing they call it a 12-in-2 because it's got two connections here for the USB-C, but that's going to give it more bandwidth for what it needs to do. And we're going to see some of the specs on this thing. It's pretty impressive. So let's start off by taking a look at the box here and seeing what it all says, and then we're going to crack it open and look at it, and then we're going to plug it in and test it. So on this side here it says 12-in-2 MacBook docking station with 150 watt power adapter and 4K 60 Hz dual display. So that's why I think it needs both connections to your Thunderbolt 3 connections on your MacBook Pro, because it's going to give you 4K on two external displays, which the MacBook can handle. It just depends on if you've got the right equipment to hook up to it. So let's flip it around to this side, and it gives us some specs here. So we got USB-C output, 5 volts at 1.5 amps. So it's got an 18 watt power delivery. So I'm guessing that can, you can charge something with that in addition to it being a docking station. It's got 4 USB 3 connections, 5 volts, 1.5 amps each. 2 HDMI, so we see the 4K 60 Hz, 2 HDMI connections. It says it's got a 19.8 inch or 50 centimeter cable length. That's definitely handy. That means it doesn't have to be right next to your laptop. It gives you a little bit of room to kind of put that around your desk somewhere. We got a 1 gigabyte Ethernet port. We've got USB-C or USB 3.0 5 gigabits, USB-C at 5 gigabits, and then it says SD or TF transfer rate of 5 gigabits. I think that's a typo. I think on their website they actually show that that's more in the megabit type range, because you don't usually see an SD card that can read and write at 5 gigabits. But we'll look at the exact standards. Over here we've got the max capacity of your SD or your TF card of 32 gigabytes if it's a regular SDHC, or 2 terabytes if it's SDXC. Got an audio port bandwidth, so it does have a headphone jack on it, 96K sampling rate. Supports Windows and Mac. You got an input of 100 to 240 volts and an output of 20 volts at 7.5 amps, so 150 watt output, which is going to be more than enough to keep your MacBook Pro charged up while it's docked in there. On the back, just a little bit of company information. I'll have the information for this particular hub here and the company itself linked in the description below. So next step is, let's take this thing out and check it out. Alright, so when you think about a USB-C docking station for your laptop, sometimes you may think about something like this. And while this is certainly USB-C, and you've got some of the outputs that you need, you got your HDMI, you got some USB-Cs, some USB-As, and you got Ethernet on here. This isn't going to be a good docking station because you're not able to power through this thing. So this is a good plug it in, hook up your thumb drives or something, and then take it back out. But it's not a permanent docking, station that can stay on your desk all the time. As opposed to this guy. So look at this. So this is the Lemorele, if that's how you pronounce it, and if it's not, I apologize. Lemorele docking station that we're reviewing today. And let's take a look at some of these connections that it listed. So we see the headphone jack, we see the SD and the TF card slots, 2 USB-A's, those are both 5 volts, 1.5 amps, in case I can guess you've got a charging cable plugged up to that. Then you've got your USB-C and your power delivery. So your USB-C you can use for like a thumb drive or an external drive, high speed, and then power delivery again if you're charging your phone or tablet. And then here's that 50 centimeter long cable with the 2 USB-C ends on there, which are spaced perfectly for your MacBooks. And then on the back side here, we've got our 2 HDMI ports, which are going to be able to handle 4K 60 each. Got our Ethernet, 1 gigabit Ethernet. Got 2 more USB-A's, and then the power input. So the power input uses a barrel, which it's good and it's bad. It's good in the sense that when you plug it in and you've got it powered up, you don't have to worry about which port is my charging port and which port is my USB-C port. I've had some devices that when you charge through it, you don't remember which of the USB-Cs you are using for actually charging and which ones you're using for data. In this case, you plug this in with the power adapter, which I'll show you here in just a second, and then you don't have to worry. The other USB-Cs can be used as USB-Cs, not for powering up your laptop. So the laptop's going to be powered through this cable here. So this would be what I would consider your front-facing side, facing you when you're docked, so that you can get your thumb drives in and out, your headphones in and out, your cards, whatever you're using the USB-Cs for. And then everything on the back side is the stuff that's going to be permanently connected. Your monitors, your network cable, your probably mouse and keyboard, and then the power itself. So let's take a look at this power adapter here. And let me just tell you, this power adapter, this thing is solid. This thing has got some definite weight to it. So I've been working with electronics a long time, and you can feel the difference of a cheapy power supply and a well-built one. And this one, from how it feels like a well-built one. So this is a 20 volt, 7.5 amp, which is 150 watts output. So that's pretty beefy. You know, that would be not in the cheapo laptop style, but more in the gaming laptop style chargers, if this was a laptop power supply. So this is putting out a decent amount of power, which is awesome because not only are we powering up our MacBook with this, but we're powering up whatever we're plugging into these USB-C ports. So it's got to be able to handle all the devices that are plugged into it at the same time. So we get the power brick itself, which has what I call the Mickey Mouse AC cable input to it, which is nice because if you ever lose it, they're easy to find. You can buy one of these real cheap. So you've got the USB or the AC cable, the power brick itself, and then just a standard barrel connection here. Alright, now that we got everything out and we've taken a look at it, the next step is we're going to hook this thing up to our MacBook. So if I'm going to hook this up to a MacBook Pro 15-inch with 2 4K displays, it's not going to be here. So I'm going to take all my stuff, I'm going to go set it up on my workbench, and I'll meet you back over there. Alright, here we are on the workbench, and forgive the wiring mess. There's a lot of cables going on right now. So let me show you what we got set up here. I've got 2 portable 4K monitors, and I love these monitors, but I hate the stands, so they're just kind of sitting up here. Each one of them have a HDMI cable running into them, and they're both being powered up from over there. So here is the USB-C docking station with the double connector for the MacBook Pro, and this is my MacBook Pro 15-inch 2017. Now in the dock here, I've got the power adapter plugged in, I've got mouse and keyboard plugged in, I've got a Ethernet cable plugged in, and then my 2 HDMI cables. So this is what would be sitting at your desk, just a lot prettier than this, hopefully. And here's my laptop. Maybe I'm getting to work and I'm ready to plug it in and start doing some work. So let's go ahead and check this out and see how it works. So I'm just going to set this on top of here and plug in both of those. And every time you change any settings on the monitors, of course, macOS takes a couple seconds to figure out what's going on. So anytime you plug or unplug these, change the resolution, change the position, or power them on or off, then it's going to flicker. Everything's going to blank out, and then it's going to come back. That's completely normal. That's just how macOS discovers the different monitors. So you can see here I've got my main display in the middle, and then I've got two displays on either side there, both coming out of the docking station here. And I've got both of them set right now to 1080p. So let me zoom in on those right there. So both the displays here are set to 1080p, just because the 4K just looks absolutely ridiculous on these small, they're probably 15-inch monitors, but I promise you that it does work. So if I look at my range screen here, you can see I've got the main display there, the built-in display, and then I've got my monitor number 1 and monitor number 2, and you can obviously drag those around depending on how your situation is, but this is just how I've had them set up while I'm testing here. So if we go back and look, and for some reason they've defaulted back to just the, I call it the dummy view on here. You can go to show list and see all the different resolutions. I'll show you that I can set this one here to 4K, and by doing so, let me pan over here. You can see that the little bar at the very top is extremely tiny, so that's nothing you could read on something like this. If you had some 27 or 32-inch 4K monitors, then that would work just perfectly. Let's go ahead and stick these back at 1080p, and you can see that everything is working. I've got 3 displays in this case, the main display and then the 2 externals. And you can even close that down, and it's going to take a second to realize that it's lost a monitor. And now you can see it automatically took this monitor here and made it kind of the main monitor. So you got the dock down at the bottom, and then you can go ahead and keep on working this as a 2-screen setup. So this is probably how I'd have it set up if I had both of my displays, if I was using 2 nice displays up on the desk, and I was just docking this and not using the built-in keyboard or the built-in trackpad or the built-in screen. Just have a decent keyboard, nice mouse, a couple nice displays, and just plug in one cable. It's keeping it charged. It's obviously connecting everything for you, and you go ahead and do your work. When you're done, unplug the one cable, throw it in your backpack, throw the laptop in your backpack, and you're either on your way home or on your way to work, whichever it is, and you don't have to worry about any cables or anything. So what's nice about this type of setup is if you've got your Apple power adapter, the one that comes with this, then you just keep that in your backpack, because you plug this in at your desk and it's keeping you charged. You don't have to keep on plugging in a power supply, unplugging it. You just do it once. And if you were going to buy a secondary power supply just to keep that, one on your desk and one in your backpack, which is how I used to always do it. I'd always have an extra Apple power supply, one for the backpack and one for the desk, so I wouldn't have to keep on plugging and unplugging. Then for just about the same amount of money, you might as well just go ahead and get this whole docking station and have all the functionality. Now, speaking of power, let's go ahead and check out to see what the laptop thinks it's receiving with the power cable here. So if we go up to the Apple and go to About This Mac, more info, scroll down here to system report, then we can find the power tab here, and down at the bottom it's going to show the AC adapter and what it thinks is plugged in. So here's the AC charger, and it's saying yes, it's connected, yes, it's charging, and it's showing 96 watts. So the Apple OEM adapter that comes with it is an 87 watt adapter. So this external docking station here is providing at least the same amount of power as the OEM. In fact, a little bit more, which isn't going to damage anything because the laptop itself is only going to ask for the amount of power that it can actually use. So it's just saying that there is 96 watts available if it needed it. Alright, so we tested it out with that 2017 MacBook Pro 15-inch. So let's talk about some of the other models that are compatible with this, since it has the two USB-C connectors. Now obviously any of the MacBooks and MacBook Pros that predate the USB-C connectors, so the 2015 and earlier, they're not going to be compatible. So that should be obvious. As far as anything newer than that, the 2016, 17 MacBook Pros, the MacBook Airs that have the USB-C connectors, even the newer MacBook or Mac Mini, I think the 2018 Mac Mini that had several of the USB-C connectors, those are all showing compatible according to their website. As far as the newest ones, the M1 and the M2 MacBooks, those are compatible, but it only allows for one display output. So it says a limitation of the M1 and M2 chip only allow one of the displays to come out, not both. So just keep that in mind. And on the Amazon link that's down in the description, it'll have a list of the compatibility of all the different models of MacBooks and Mac Minis and MacBook Airs and MacBook Pros, and tell you which ones are compatible and which ones aren't. Also on that product page, it lists the speed for the SD card slot as being 104 megabits, which sounds a lot more likely than the 5 gigabits that showed on the box. And it also shows that same 5 gigabits on the bottom of here. But I would believe that 104 anyways. No one's expecting to get 5 gigabit speed out of an SD card, so it should be no surprise. I think it's just simply either a manufacturing typo or something similar. There is no booklet in the box that I got. There was no booklet that had the specs listed out either, which isn't too disheartening because it's really a plug-and-play device. You plug it in, it just works. So it does have all the information that you need listed down on the bottom there. Okay, so it's time for my kind of summary review of this Lemorele USB docking station for the MacBook Pro, and I'm going to tell you it works great. I think you saw that when we tested it out on my MacBook Pro. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. It is ultra convenient if you're going to be bringing your laptop to and from some docked situation, whether it's your home desk or your office desk. If you're taking it back and forth between there, throwing your laptop in a backpack in between, then having this thing hooked up to everything is a time saver, and it's really a sanity saver. Plug in one cable and you're done. Now, I've told you before that I've got a 2016 15-inch MacBook Pro that I use at work, and I have a docking station similar to this that I bought many, many years ago, back when I got that 2016 originally, and it's been plugged in non-stop ever since I've had it. So I've really grown accustomed to having the convenience of this, and I swear by it. It's worth the investment because you're not going to be constantly plugging things in and out of your laptop except for just this one connector. Now, as far as the design of this particular unit, I think it's designed perfectly in the sense that it's got all the things on the front that you'd want to plug in and out, throughout the course of the day, and all the things on the back that you would never touch. I think you probably noticed when I had it set up on the workbench with the two monitors, the only cables that were coming in and out of it were all on the back, and then that left all the front ones open for anything that I needed to plug in, peripheral wise. So it's a good design in that sense. One thing that could be improved upon, and I don't think it's something that's going to change anytime soon, is the power adapter here, this barrel power adapter. It works great, but I think in the future we may see this as being USB-C also. Now, in the past, USB-C, the spec for power delivery maxed out at 100 watts. So that's why we see barrel connectors on something like this that takes 150 watts. That standard has just been bumped up to 240. So I think in the future we may see the input to this be in a USB-C format, but that really doesn't affect anything. The only thing that would really benefit you with is if you had that brick that was outputting USB-C, you could use that by itself in the device. But that's really not something that I've ever done with my existing dock. I've never had the necessity to just plug in just the power itself. I'm going to just go ahead and plug in the entire dock. So that's really just a fine situation for this one too. So overall, I'd like to thank Lemorele for sending this demo unit to me. We definitely gave it a good test, and it performed accordingly. So thank you to them for letting me test this thing out. And if you'd like some more information on this, of course, I've got the website and the product page both linked down below. So that's going to wrap up this video review. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you found something interesting about it. If you did, go ahead and give me that thumbs up. If you like this type of stuff, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Do you have a docking station like this that you use and you enjoy? Let me know about it down there in the comments. And if this is something that looks exciting to you, let me know that too. So thank you as always for watching, and until next time, peace out and geek out.